Go.
Live Friday morning once again.
We're here in our Friday studios. We're going to make this something that more of an occurrence, common occurrence. We actually have secured these studios for the rest of the summer every single Friday, so we're going to try to get together at least maybe once a week to do one of these shows.
Really cool stuff going on this week.
But this week's show, we obviously, it's the talk of the town, not just the league. I'm getting emails, calls, texts from anyone that has anything to do with softball or even community related. We all know what went down this past week.
Now,
we'll quickly gloss over what happened in Games 1 because, listen, it was something to write home about. It was a good...
we did have another matchup earlier.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. We had a split between the Pirates and the Brewers. Well-fought games.
Two well-fought games. To go on that matchup first, the Pirates, I think, although they split, showed that they could be a team to win the World Series.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, it is. And Bobby Safdie, 8 for 8 on the day. Natan went 6 for 8, I believe. Those two guys carrying their offense.
A new definition of the Bash Brothers right there.
That's right. They were the complete team, a very complete team defensively. Yosef Safdie played better and right. And Butchie Cohen proving to be a very good addition. People questioned the addition of Butchie for Morris, but he's hitting too.
Wait, so if Butchie carries his weight, well, hopefully not the current weight, but his old weight, then he'll be doing a real good job for their team, and they're a force to be reckoned with. But again, we have to see a little more of them.
Of course, they only played 4 times.
Right, and other teams played a lot more than 4 times. Yeah. And as we know, I think we know what the Brewers are. They're a team. They're a 500 team, but they're a team that could win every single game, and they're a team that could lose every single game.
Correct. They're a 500 team that you can't fall asleep on. We do think they're going to make the playoffs. Is it going to be the one-game playoff, or they're going to make the top 3
But in the words of the great Bill Parcells, you are what your record is right now, and they've played enough to know what they are. They're a 500 team that every team knows they have to bring their A game because they can lose if you fall asleep.
Credit to them. Game 2, they were down 3-0, and they fought back in 1 inning. And then buckled down defensively. Very good.
So again, we had a split over there, but as we know, the matchup of the week was probably the most anticipated regular season matchup in league history after the bad blood that was feuding into the opening night. The schedule makers...
Michael Not Sabon Solomon.
Yeah, versus Norwood. The schedule makers did a great job having this be the Angels, which is Norwood's returning World Series team for the most part, versus Mike Not Sabon Solomon's last year's Balbino squad, which is now the Padres.
Now
we don't
usually in our games we don't usually talk about plays and details of the games. We stopped doing that for the most part. We usually like talking general about players, how they're doing.
But when games of this magnitude have such game-changing and even potentially season momentum-changing plays, we're going to break down a few major plays, and we'll also be checking out a few clips via highlight during this video. And but we'll get into it in a little bit. Let's just go back.
First off, this is Norwood's first time playing. That's how it worked out.
Right. So he asked for a delayed opening start of the season because a bunch of his players weren't available, and just so be it as it may, he faced his last year World Series opposition. And as we all know, Norwood of winner won the World Series, but one of the major storylines going in was after Norwood intentionally or unintentionally, however you want to look at it, took out the MVP, Michael Cohen, which Norwood swears was unintentional. Again,
they made up.
He was mochelim and all, but be it as it may, he was out for a prolonged period of time, the entire offseason he was rehabbing. And as if you're aware or not, the Padres squad, their entire mantra of the season is revenge. They're on the revenge tour, and they want to take what they thought is rightfully theirs.
First off, regarding Michael Cohen, he's probably, you could always debate things. Right now, he's probably the best player in the league.
I would even go as far to say, I know it's very hard to do this because it's different leagues, but right now, pound for pound, he might be a top 5 player in the community.
He probably is. He's playing a solid center field. He's an on-base machine, and when he is on the bases, oh boy, is he trouble.
And even when he's out and they pinch run
get him on base.
As we see in the highlights, he actually made the world of a difference of his legs in the bases.
He wreaks havoc. He's a smart runner. And
guess what? He's still young. He ain't an old man. So he's got years ahead of him, God willing. So Game 1 was nothing to write home about. Game 1 was more or less a rout.
Could it be Game 1, the first 2 innings, Freddie Hittery was not as sharp as he could have been. Maybe he showed to the field a little later.
Press pause on that. Freddie Hittery did tell his captain please give me 4 outfielders. It's conducive of how I pitch. Norwood didn't want to hear any of it. He gave up a ton of runs, and then as soon as Isaac Norwood listened to his starting pitcher, all of a sudden he was shutting down the
It's
Padres.
funny.
in 12
Last
innings.
year he didn't play with 4 outfielders. Last year only played with 3. Maybe not Tan Safdie being out
Maybe
there.
he had
with-
faster outfielders.
Maybe faster outfield. Okay, maybe. He has veteran outfielders that know what they're doing just as good as everybody. But obviously, with age comes you lose a few steps.
Can't beat Father Time.
Right,
Can't
so
do it.
Ike Mavora is in the center field for them. Like we said, he's a veteran. He knows how to play center field.
Ike
just as
Chasinoff's
good.
in left field, same deal.
Same idea, but they're both over 40 at this point.
Correct.
They're veterans. Balls hit out there today.
Hey,
You
by the
trust
way,
them?
first pause. I take those 2 guys over a lot of the young kids out there.
Right.
Especially at the plate and even in the field. You know they're not going to make any bonehead plays, but
Right.
sheer legs and athletic ability, you know what comes with age.
Right, and Stanley Cohen, we'll get into that. He was the right fielder. But I don't say 3 outfielders, say 4 outfielders the first inning, and 2, Freddie Hittery got
Oh,
shot.
he got tattooed. And
They were putting the ball where they
let's
wanted.
just don't forget, Freddie Hittery was traded for Ralph Sutton earlier in the season. So
That's
Norwood
right.
was questioning, did I make the right move? Did I not make the right move? It looks like I made a terrible trade. And at that point in time, Norwood said all was lost, and you should have seen him. He was down and out.
Right, he really was. Now, it's funny, we don't want to get into details, but first inning, there was a runner on first and 1 out, and there was a ground ball up the middle that Isaac Dweck, I think if he was in midseason form, gobbles up, flips to second, maybe no double play, but it would have been 2 out, runner on. Instead, it turned out to 2 runners on with 1 out.
Right.
And hell broke loose from there. So you want to get into nitty gritty, little things do make a difference sometimes. That could have made a difference in the game early. Second inning, they tacked on. Those Padres hit the ball.
Push comes to shove. The final score of Game 1 was 10-4, but it wasn't even that close.
10-0 in the final
It was a
inning.
10-0, and then Tuna wanted the shutout. He didn't get it. He actually niced himself, said, I want the shutout, throw home, and then
Right.
he gave up a bunch of hits. But usually that means those 4 runs that the Angels scored in the final inning usually carries over to Game 2, so it's a good thing. They had the momentum going into Game 2,
did.
scoring those 4 runs, felt good about themselves instead of getting shut out. And guess what?
Jojo Soria early didn't look great. Maybe he was a little rusty. But Game 2, he came out and he got a couple of nice hits.
Yeah, so Game 2, I don't want to skip to the end, so we'll just talk a little bit about what happened.
Norwood's team with their legs.
Right.
Ralph Chira, early in the day, hit a ground ball he probably should have beat out.
And guess what? Ralph Cheer is as advertised. He is a speed
He's
merchant
fast.
on the bases.
So I think his first time up, people went, hey, this kid doesn't look so fast. I think he was looking at the ball. He slipped out of the box. A little rusty. It's his first time back in a while. Next time up, there was a ground ball. There was a bad throw because of his legs. The ball took off from the first baseman, maybe a few feet. He turned and got to
Right,
second.
and then we saw a little later in the game his legs came into play as well.
With the tag up, yeah, he scored
Right,
at home.
so either way, they had a big lead. They had a, what was the lead the
It was
first
a
of that?
9-1
9-1
and then
lead.
9-2.
So it was a 9-1 lead with 2 outs in the 5th.
No, it wasn't that much. I think
Yeah, it was.
Fourth. It was late fourth, 2 outs.
No, in the 5th.
9-2.
It was 9-2 with 2 outs in the 6th. It was, trust me. And it was 2 outs in the 6th, 9-2. You would think this game's all but over.
Now, there was one controversial thing. Michael Cohen went up, took a full swing.
Okay,
Did he chop? Did he
I'm going
not
to stop
chop?
you right now. Norwood comes in and he's screaming, coming in from second base. He chopped the ball intentionally. Check your rule book. It's illegal. In my opinion, I think it was bogus that Norwood did that because every single time up, if Norwood wants to get into that, he chops the ball intentionally to the right side.
Chopping, it's
Which he actually did the next at bat. So
what they call it, but there was
No,
it's
they
a
said-
judgment call. It's a judgment call.
right,
by
he
the
said umpire said
And,
judgment call, and he said nonsense. Get out of my face.
But if you look back at the highlights, the irony of all that is, I think the biggest hits by the Padres in the comeback were all bloops.
aside from Mike Melech Salmon's
We'll get to
bomb,
that. We'll get
and
to
aside for Jackie Cohen's beautiful
Line
gap
drive.
shot.
Yeah,
Come on.
no chopping ground balls.
Right, so either way,
It was 9-2. Say what you want. You have a bad team behind you, a good team behind you.
gotta-
Whether your team is stinks or not.
They were 4 outs away of closing the door.
9-2.
So now, one of the big
That's
moments
crazy.
was Shimmy Cohen, which was subbing, unfortunately had a line drive hit right at him by out on Dweck with
Yes.
2 outs. He couldn't hold on to the ball. It was hit hard, but you got to catch that ball.
99 out of 100 times he
And then
squeezes that.
from there is when the comeback
A lot
happened.
of stuff happened.
So it was wild. One of the big at-bats was Jackie Cohen got to the plate with the
Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Right, and he had a beautiful base hit, line drive. Should have
Yeah.
been, in my opinion, single, maybe double if
That's
he
what I
hustled it
think.
out. Ball got by the 2 outfielders.
I think the way they were positioned, there was nobody playing straight away, But even so,
I think it went to right center field a little
It
bit.
was center,
Right,
close to the center. But
I
the way
think Ike and Stanley were converging over there, and they
Maybe.
both looked up, and it went by them, and then
It
it
was
became
wild.
a 3-run.
He ended up getting thrown out at the plate by
Right,
Shimmy
right.
Cohen, by the way.
Correct.
Who at that point made a great throw, and that preserved the lead for the
Right,
time
it made it
being.
9-8. It made it 9-8.
And going into the sixth, 9-8, there was 2 out, nobody on.
Right, so come on. Even if
Two out,
nobody else.
And forget about 2 out. They got Michael Cohen out as the second out in the inning. So you could see all of them wipe their brow like, we got him out of the way.
They all said, I heard them say in the field, all right, this is the game.
Right.
When
they got him
Michael
out.
up.
They popped him out.
And they got him out.
Now, Avi Dweck went on to walk.
Right.
And walks, we always say, come back to bite you. And Freddie Hittery, it's one thing he doesn't usually do is walk people.
Right, that's usually his strength.
And it's funny because one of the things people say is maybe his control is too good sometimes.
Correct.
That he's too easy to hit because he's always around the plate. Well, he chose a bad time to walk Avi there. Solly Cohen went on to get a hit. They pinch ran. That's the key.
Right, this is the huge thing now. Now Michael's out ended up being something actually of value because he was the runner available to run.
And he pinched
so they
ran.
ran. Avi had a bad hamstring.
They went out of their way to pinch run Michael, knowing that Nehemiah Katz is coming up in 3 batters with no runners left.
Correct.
So they put all their
No, you
eggs
should
in the
know.
basket.
At that time, they were questioning: do we let him run? They
Right.
said, no. He's the time run. You let him run.
I think Michael Melech Mike didn't want to make him run, and they pushed him to do it. And he ended up saying, looking at them and saying,
He ran,
right.
and it was second and third, 2 out for the captain. Bottom line.
First and third, I think.
First and
First
third.
and third. He came all the way around it.
I think it was second and third.
Maybe
either way.
so.
It was
But-
2 runners on with 2 out for the captain. Biggest moment of the season.
Very
and,
interesting.
And actually, you know what? Let's actually check out right now what happened.
And the captain steps to the plate, tying run, just 65 feet away at third base. Can they mount and complete this comeback? Last inning they were down by 8 runs. Freddie Hittery up to a big test right now.
Let's go, Cock. Take that pitch. The mic. Oh, you know. Come on, Mella. Come on, Cock.
High, fly ball, deep left field. Way over the left fielder's head. And the tying run scores. Here comes the lead run. Sol Cohen scores. And the captain, Mike Melech Salomon, hits a 2-run go-ahead double in the bottom of the 6th with 2 out.
As you saw, the captain came through. Captain Clutch came through and drilled.
Few very interesting things about that play.
He drilled that
Number
ball.
one, before we get to the drilling of the high pitch that he took for such a shot, wow.
The most important. I'm scared if you're going to mention what Ray did over there.
Yes.
You did.
That's I saw it. We
So
saw it in the
if
highlights.
you saw that highlight right there that we just showed, the third baseman actually right before, or a pitch or two before the actual bomb, actually brought in the left fielder.
That's right.
And like we saw, Mike took a high pitch and just smoked it over the
Now,
left
in
fielder.
defense to Ray, to maybe what he was thinking, is Mike's at bat before that he had a pop up that maybe should have been caught in a
No, it should have been caught. It was a hit.
dropped. Yeah,
it was a
it
blue
dropped.
pit, but that's,
Blue pit.
they were playing him on the moon. But
Right, so maybe that's what we're thinking. That might happen again. But he did move Chaz in a few steps. And to give Mike credit, he really took the ball for a
he
ride.
clocked the ball.
Would he have caught it or not? He definitely would have had a better chance.
That was to take the lead. They ended up tacking on more runs.
2 or 3 runs. 2 more runs.
It was
Yeah.
12-9 going into the bottom of the 7th.
Yes, and this is when it gets fun.
Now, listen, you would think after that entire comeback that the Angels are, they're down and out. They're,
No,
sheesh.
you know what? To give the Angels credit, this shows you they're a veteran team that's never going to quit.
Now, they don't show quit, and what we
They're not
saw
gonna quit.
could be a good thing for the season to come. Hopefully, it is because
I
they're a
think
lot
it-
better than an 0-2 record.
I think it will be.
And what happened was, we would say, I'll get to it. Bottom line, the most controversial play I would say in regular season history.
Possibly. Well, first off, they
we'll
loaded
skip
the
this.
bases.
They loaded the bases. They score a run.
DT hit a fielder's choice RBI. DT ended up being at second as the tying run.
Right. So it was second and third for Ike Chazanoff with 1 out. With 1
No,
out. With 2
2
out.
outs.
Sorry, 2 out. Second and
With
third.
Ralph Mendiel, who was swinging a good bat that day on deck.
Okay, still, the question, you have a bag open. I remember telling, I
My
heard them
opinion,
talking.
they
to
should have
you.
walked him.
I said, you set up a force to the plate for a ground ball. If Mendiel hits
They're
it,
not-
force anywhere.
Force anywhere.
Right, I'm just saying, they said, no, we don't want to do that. We
I
want
know-
to pitch
I know
Ike
the
Chazanoff,
old-
the veteran, which I think was a bad idea. And guess what?
It was a bad idea. In old old baseball terms, they say don't put the winning run on. But this is not baseball. It's
Right,
softball.
it's softball,
Don't
and
make the third baseman.
You
throw the
want
ball
to
across the
give
diamond.
less margin for error for
Correct.
everyone in the field, and that's what you usually do in softball. That's what I would do. And
Is Ralph Mendiel or Freddie Hittery going to hit one in the gap to end the game?
listen,
The likelihood of it happening is
more
not
likely
high.
not, but either way, let's check what happened as a final clip of the game. And
Strike.
Full count.
3-2. Play the first, guys. So you feel knock it down, play the first.
BK style, Chaz. Show him. BK style.
Play.
Line drive, left field, base hit. Here's one. Here's a tying run. The plate to the plate. Out at the plate. Out at the plate. And they completed it.
And as you saw that, unfreaking believable.
Yes. Now,
That highlight was loaded with material. So now, first things first, Ike Chazanoff clutch. Got the 2-run base, not the tie.
something nobody spoke about. Michael, the captain, Solomon, moved Solly Cohen
Right,
in a
if
few
you check,
steps.
I think 3 pitches into the at-bat, he moved him
He
in
moved
like
him in.
that, which ended up making the world of a difference because Solly Cohen came up throwing a rifle.
hell of a throw.
Press pause. DT rounded way too wide at third base.
Yes.
He was almost touching Norwood, the third base coach. He was almost in the dugout. And as he rounded, every step made a tremendous difference, obviously.
It's
the play
funny.
came in.
Off the bat, I was by the third baseline. I thought off the bat the game was tied easily.
Yeah, so did I,
did.
but he
now
big
I
turn.
think on our field there's a lot of wide turns going on at third for whatever reason. It seems
Whatever it
like
may
a lot.
be, he's supposed to cut
But-
earlier. It's
Yeah,
optical
it's a-
illusion. He
whatever
cuts,
it is, but-
wide turn, throw comes in on a bounce. Captain Mike, who just
Made a
got that
great
clutch
play.
hit, made a really nice scoop on the ball. And if you check, he puts his leg out the second he gets the ball in his glove, so he didn't block the plate illegally. And then he slaps the tag down on the S, and guess what happens? Umpire looks around. The question was, did DT get his hand on
Now-
home plate as he hook slided? That could be up for debate from now until the end of time.
Now,
because
the,
I freeze framed every single still shot, and there is no way of knowing what happened.
The naked eye, most people saw that he probably could
Hey,
have been.
I called him safe.
Yeah.
But you can't get mad at Tommy if that was his call
It
and he
was
had a
a
great
great
angle.
call. You watch the replay. Tommy made the call. He's probably our most
Efficient.
How do you say it? Efficient, honest. I don't know the word. use
No,
the
no,
word, but
most high integrity umpire.
Yes,
Don't ever
major.
question his integrity. We know he is the most, God-fearing, honest man you could find. And it was unfortunate, but fortunate at the same time that a game ended that way.
It
For
was not
the
fun.
theatrics and for excitement,
Could
and
not have
for-
been better.
And for the build-up and the anticipation of this game, it was the best ever.
it was perfect.
But-
it really was perfect.
But to end a game like that, where a guy like Chaz got a game tying it,
for the
and
record,
it was
Chaz's last 2 at bats,
He was
2
smoking the ball.
ropes, and he got the big hit.
And I'm on the Chaz bandwagon. I always know he could hit. Chaz, people don't know because people don't know the Brooklyn players as well as people that play in that league. Chaz is known to be a consummate professional hitter. He's just one of those guys. So he got the big hit. Game ended that way. Right now, because of the way the games ended, we have a tie for first place.
Yes,
with
and
3-1
and
Orioles.
2-1. Well, the Norwood's team, the Angels, are 0-2.
They're 0-2, and
with
we
the
have-
Heat's 1-3.
But so who has the tie? Who has it? The
right
win?
now, Norwood's ahead because he has a chance, more games in hand.
Right. So he has a game in hand.
He's not in last place.
But either way, it was actually kind of good for the standings, and it was a wild week.
What a way. Now, it's funny. Last thing I want to bring up. What used to be, you throw a guy in right field. Well, that no longer could be done. People go to right field more than they go to left, probably. You know what we learned over the last 2 weeks?
You need a good right fielder, and guess what? Stanley Cohen's a good right fielder.
You need a good catcher.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Boy,
That's
now,
for sure.
Ralph Mendiel. I give Ralph Mendiel credit. He made 2 plays this week, getting guys at the
And
plate.
it was a rare sighting. He threw the ball to the pitcher without throwing under.
Yes, he went overhand. He stopped practicing to be the backup pitcher. But Michael Solomon tagged another man out on the day.
Right, there was
as
3
well.
total put out to the plate. 2 of them
So-
by Michael, 1 of them by Ralph. So
And there
catchers
was-
come into play.
And there was other games in our season so far with other teams where the catcher position bit them in the behind.
So I don't listen. Some people had unfortunate games. I think Albuquerque we saw had a pretty rough
Yeah,
day at the
tough
plate.
game, yeah.
Well, I know he's better than that, but we're just trying to point out that the catching defensive position, as inclusive with the right field defensive position, is just as important as. I would say second base. I would say sometimes even left field. Now Tom was telling me in his 2 games, in his 2
Everything
matchups,
goes to right.
he has 4 total plays between the 4 games the way Mark Cohen pitches.
That's
So
right. And
yeah,
right field gets a truckload of
everyone's
balls.
got to be on their toes. We're looking forward to another exciting upcoming week. It's going to be hard to top that previous week.
Very hard. We have 2 good matchups coming up. Monday night are the Orioles, the first place Orioles
Tied in
against
first place, right.
against the Pawtucket Brewers.
Right.
And the Brewers are looking to go over 500 now. Major. They only have 2 matchups left, so this is a big matchup.
Right,
for
I
them
know
Monday
David
night.
Herrera is a big fan of the Brewers. How he's
Yes.
going to handle playing against his
It's going to
his
be
boys.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
So that's
and
number
then
1.
Wednesday night is I'm supposed to know. It's Max Hadid.
Tigers.
Yes, the Tigers playing against the Pirates.
Right.
Which is another really good matchup. 500
Listen,
team.
the way the season's playing out right now, we're having great games every single night. Every
lot of
game
fun.
means so much. Everything is on the line because you don't want to, in a condensed schedule, fall behind and lose a game.
I think the 6 teams really made this.
6 teams is great. Every
really make
team
this
is,
fun.
and there's no crap teams. Every team's
Right.
competitive,
This is really
and
good.
we're having
the
a
big
great year
gold
so far.
question: if you wanna put up a red flag, is how's Freddie Hittery going to react his next time out?
I think he'll be all right. I watched him pitch on Sunday in the playoffs in Brooklyn, and he wasn't getting a lot of the play. He was getting people out in front, and that was not the case the other night. He was getting too much of the
He
play.
did
I
go
think he'll
through
be
a
fine.
12-inning span where he was great.
Right.
It was just the
I
beginning
think
of the day
he'll
and
be
the end
fine.
of the day.
I think he'll
find
be
out.
fine.
It's going to be the big question.
All right, have a great weekend, boys.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, and we'll see you guys next week on the field.
Looking forward. Can't wait.